What's going on, guys? It's Colin here for NextGenTactics, and I was going to start sort of an official Battlefield 3 strategy series this week, but unfortunately I got tied up with work. I spent about 100 or so hours at my real job, so I didn't get to that, but I wanted to bring you guys some tank tips and strategies. And in this first clip, I actually start out as the gunner, and just because of a miscommunication, we both hop out to repair at the same time, and my partner in crime gets taken down. But what I wanted to demonstrate here is if you are not running a machine gun as your secondary, then to have the awareness to switch seats if you need to in order to stay alive and deal with some infantry. So right there, I hit the F2 button to jump in the gunner seat. On Xbox, that's the A button. PS3, I believe it's X. So you can flip back and forth if you find yourself alone with a tank. Now, I normally recommend that you try and run with a gunner, and if you're both running engineer, you can be a very unstoppable force. In the second clip, we're going to roll into town in the tank. I just wanted to show how effective this can be, especially in Conquest, at clearing out an area and capping objectives. So we're going to roll into town, take down one enemy, switch to thermal, and pick up another one. Now, a lot of you guys have actually talked about how overpowered you find thermal optics to be on the weapons themselves, but I'm wondering what everyone's thoughts are on the tanks. Now, I don't find them to be as effective as infantry, but extremely effective at lighting up enemy armor and anti-tank mines, equipment, and that sort of thing. So right here I'm going to switch to thermal, and I'm going to catch a piece of that tank down the hill for a triple, and we're going to try and go help out with the checkpoint objective. We're going to wind up getting another enemy, I think, for the eventual quad feed. Although it's not a feed, you know what I mean. We're not talking montage clips here, but I did spot that guy. He tried to duck behind cover around behind the wall. That's the beauty of Destruction 2.0. You can simply take down that wall, and that tends to amplify the damage done by your vehicle. So I'm going to spot this buggy with my thermal optics. We're going to get a kill. We're going to work on capping this objective, and I'm taking damage from behind here in a second. And whenever you get into an encounter in a tank, you want to try and take the time to turn around so that you're facing the threat head on, because you take half, if not even a third of the damage when you get hit directly in the front. Now, I'm not sure exactly where this guy is, and I'm working with Stone. He's in the gun, and he calls out that he killed him. So we have one more person to deal with. I'm going to see him crawling along and toss an AT mine. So he's going to get killed by the gunner. And then I'm going to switch to thermal optics so I can spot out where he exactly laid that AT mine. It was pretty close range, so I could have just blasted away. But I'm going to pop around the corner here in a second and show just how effective the thermal optics can be. So there's a cluster of anti-tank mines. Unfortunately, I'm an idiot, and I didn't look at my mini-map. Your friendly AT mines show up on your mini-map. So before you go blasting away, I took out 2 there, and here I'm going to blast a cluster of 3 of them, without looking to see that those were my own team's mines. Be aware, learn from my mistakes. Now we're going to move on to demonstrating the use of the guided shell. So my favorite loadout lately has been thermal optics with a guided shell, especially if I'm working with a teammate. Now, if I'm not working with a teammate and it's infantry heavy, it's probably better to run like a coaxial LMG or something as your secondary, but with the guided shell, you're a more devastating force against enemy vehicles. And I was able to lock onto that chopper because it was laser designated. Someone on my team either designated it from an air vehicle like a jet, from a SOFLAM. The other option is to use the CITV station, which is an unlock on the tanks. I'll show you that in a second, but here I want to give an example of sort of the 1-2-3 punch. You can lay an absolute beating on an enemy tank if you hit him with your main cannon, guided shell, main cannon, and I also am using the autoloader upgrade, so I fire my main cannon faster. Now, in these next few shots, I'm actually working with a squad mate who has the CITV station on the tank unlocked, and what that enables him to do is laser designate enemy vehicles, and then I can even lock onto them from behind cover, which is very handy. You see, he's missing me, he can't hit me, but I can kind of duck behind cover, launch that guided shell up in the air towards the enemy tank. Now, that one's a miss, but right here somebody actually designates an enemy MAV, or MAV, and I'm going to take that down immediately so that he can't lock onto me and paint me for his teammates. So as we move on, there, we have a tank in front of me that's now laser designated. When that happens, you want to get out of the line of fire, launch a guided shell up in the air over the cover, and right there I'm going to get him disabled. We have a helicopter coming in a second, and from the CITV station, my squad mate's able to paint that as well. So I'm able to be effective against both ground armor and air vehicles. Works against jets, helicopters, etc., but it does require teamwork to pull it off. So You know, some people have complained about Stinger missiles not requiring any skill. You just point and lock on. That's kind of my feeling on the guided shell against tanks, but against air vehicles where you do require team play for that to be effective, I think that it's a really good option to use, especially if you have someone to communicate with. Once I unlock the CITV station myself, I'll bring you some footage to see if it's possible for me to sort of flip back and forth, paint my own targets, and take them down. I think that would be a really neat experiment to try. And if any of you have tried it, then leave a comment. And of course, the good old-fashioned option is to just try and blast away at enemy jets and helicopters until you catch them with the main cannon. So I thought the first shot there hit. I saw my shell explode. There was nothing else it could have hit. Second one caught the tree, but then he gets kind of cocky, flies too low, and boom. I hope you enjoyed the video, guys, and if so, leave a thumbs up. If not, leave a thumbs down. As always, honest feedback is appreciated. And a comment. What do you think of thermal optics on the tanks? That's it for me, guys. Cheers. We'll talk soon.